The Second Punic War, Part 4. Scipio Africanus and the Battle of Zama.
For more than 15 years, Hannibal Barca, the shadow from Carthage, haunted Rome. His name alone struck fear into the hearts of the legions. Yet from Rome's darkest hours would rise a new commander. A man destined to face Hannibal in one of history's most decisive battles, the clash at Zama.
The long shadow of Hannibal.
Since crossing the Alps with his army and war elephants, Hannibal had carved a bloody path across Italy. He crushed the Romans at Tribia in 218 BCE, annihilated them at Lake Trasimene, and delivered one of the greatest battlefield slaughters at Cannae,
where nearly 50,000 Romans fell in a single day.
Rome bled. Entire legions were wiped out. The Senate teetered on despair. But Rome was no ordinary city-state. Where others would have surrendered, Rome refused to bow. Defeat after defeat hardened them. Rome possessed a unique quality, an unyielding resilience, a stubbornness that bordered on madness. Even when Hannibal camped on Italian soil for over a decade, Rome endured. That endurance set the stage for the rise of a new figure, Publius Cornelius Scipio.
Glowing star. The rise of Scipio.
Scipio was born into one of Rome's noble families, destined for politics and command. But his destiny was forged in fire at Cannae. As a young officer, he witnessed the massacre firsthand. Survivors stumbled away broken. But for Scipio, the disaster became a vow. Rome would not fall, and he would dedicate his life to defeating Hannibal. Rome, desperate for fresh leadership, entrusted the young commander with an ambitious mission: seize Hispania, modern Spain, the lifeblood of Carthage's empire. Hispania supplied Carthage with silver, grain, soldiers, and without it, Hannibal's war machine in Italy would wither. Scipio proved himself more than capable, charismatic and daring. He blended Roman discipline with innovative tactics. In 206 BCE, at the Battle of Ilipa, he outmaneuvered the Carthaginians with a brilliant stratagem, reversing the order of his forces to trap and overwhelm them. In a single campaign, Scipio shattered Carthage's power in Spain. For Hannibal, it was a devastating blow. Cut off from reinforcements and supplies, the once unstoppable general now stood alone in Italy, increasingly isolated.
Sailboat. Rome strikes back. The war moves to Africa.
Victory in Spain was only the beginning. Scipio understood that Rome could not merely defend Italy forever. To defeat Hannibal, Rome needed to strike at Carthage itself. It was a daring plan, an invasion of North Africa. In 204 BCE, Scipio sailed across the Mediterranean, landing his army near Carthage. His arrival sent shockwaves through the city. For the first time in decades, the war was no longer in Rome's backyard, it was at Carthage's gates. There, Scipio secured a vital ally, Massinissa, the Numidian prince. Massinissa's cavalry was unmatched, swift, deadly, and perfect for harassing the enemy's flanks. Together, Roman legions and Numidian horsemen formed a fearsome coalition. Carthage, desperate, recalled Hannibal from Italy. After 16 years of campaigning on Roman soil, he was forced to abandon his dream of crushing Rome where it stood. Now he returned to Africa, burdened with the weight of his people's survival.
Elephant. The Battle of Zama. 202 BCE.
On the arid plains near Zama, the two greatest commanders of the age prepared for battle. On one side stood Hannibal, master of strategy, bringing his seasoned veterans and war elephants. On the other, Scipio, young but brilliant, commanding the disciplined Roman legions and reinforced by Massinissa's cavalry. The world seemed to hold its breath. Hannibal's opening move was bold. He unleashed his elephants, hoping to smash through the Roman lines as he had done in earlier battles. But Scipio was ready. His troops opened corridors in their ranks, allowing the beasts to pass harmlessly through. Trumpets and horns blared, confusing the elephants, who panicked and trampled Hannibal's own men. The infantry clash was brutal. Roman discipline met Carthaginian courage in a grinding melee. For a time, the outcome hung in the balance. But Maecenas' cavalry delivered the decisive blow, sweeping the Carthaginian horsemen from the field. They circled back and struck Hannibal's army from behind. Carthage's proud soldiers were crushed between the Roman legions in front and Numidian cavalry at their rear. The Carthaginian line collapsed. Hannibal himself barely escaped with his life. The Battle of Zama was over. For the first time in his career, Hannibal had suffered a total defeat.
Classical building. The aftermath, the fall of Carthage's power.
The defeat at Zama forced Carthage to sue for peace. The terms were brutal. Carthage surrendered its fleet, keeping only 10 ships. They paid an enormous indemnity to Rome, draining their wealth. They were forbidden from waging war without Rome's permission. Carthage, once the dominant power of the Mediterranean, was reduced to a client state. As for Hannibal, though he returned home in defeat, his people still revered him. He entered politics, pushing reforms to revive Carthage's strength. But Rome's shadow loomed ever larger. The Senate never forgave him. Hunted relentlessly, Hannibal eventually took poison rather than fall into Roman hands. His last words were said to be, "Let us relieve Rome of her fear, since she will not wait for my death to come naturally."
Sparkle's legacy of Zama.
The victory transformed Scipio into Scipio Africanus, the conqueror of Africa. He became the savior of Rome, a living symbol of Roman resilience. Hannibal, though defeated, remained admired across history as one of the greatest military minds the world has ever known. Carthage survived, but only as a shadow of its former self. Rome, however, stood ascendant. The road was now open for its transformation into the supreme power of the Mediterranean, a destiny sealed on the fields of Zama.
Clapperboard closing reflection.
The Second Punic War ended not with Hannibal triumphant in Italy, but with Rome victorious in Africa. Zama proved a timeless lesson. Genius can win battles, but resilience can win wars. Rome lost armies, lost battles, lost entire legions, but it never lost its will. And in the end, that stubborn will forged an empire that would shape the ancient world.
If you were Scipio, would you dare face Hannibal on the battlefield? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories where history's turning points come alive.